The active ingredients in chopper are isopropylamine salt of massifier. That contains 26.7% of the herbicide, and the other ingredients are around 73.3%. How it kills. Chopper is readily absorbed through the foliage, bark, roots, and translocated rapidly through the plant with accumulation of meristematic regions. The plant stops growing soon after the application is done. Chlorosis first appears in the young leaf tissue. In perennials, it is translocated into the roots, preventing resprouting. Plants will start to show signs of decline in several weeks after the herbicide is applied. And in woody plants, brush, trees, they may not show the full extent of the herbicide until several months after the application. What it kills, here I have just a few of the species that it kills. Basically most of your hardwoods, and some of your grasses like hickories, maples, oaks, sweet gums, and then Johnson grasses and stuff like that. Field applications, it can be applied using aerial spraying, using helicopters, mechanical applications using tractors or skidders or equipment like that. You can also use it in simple ground applications with a backpack sprayer. Can also be used with injective methods, cut stump treatments, thin line basal and stem applications, and low volume basal bark treatments. Here I have a picture of a helicopter flying over spraying herbicide. For aerial applications, applicators are required to use a coarser droplet size to control the wind drift. Required to use upwind swath displacement, and the boom length must not exceed 60% of the wingspan or 90% of the rotor blade diameter to reduce the spray drift. And it said do not apply when wind speeds are greater than 10 miles per hour, and I have a little video. Here he's going to come in and land on the truck and refill with herbicide. Imagine you had to have some pretty skilled pilots to be able to land that thing on the truck. How do I get out of this thing with it? Alright, for the ground boom applications, the applicators are required to use a nozzle height below 4 feet above the ground or plant canopy and coarse droplet sizes. And applications with wind speeds greater than 10 miles per hour are prohibited. I have a short video of skidder spraying also.
I wish on that. Skidder spraying wasn't expensive. I love skidder spraying. I love to see that shit that's showering the damn ground.
I always thought they had booms out, so it just sprays off the side of it.
Got a little head like that and stove like this in the middle. Got two little heads out here. Just sound like my four-wheeler does the same thing.
Yeah.
And the center goes out this way, and those two cross back over. I
On
love-
that, do they have like a little device that can cut the spray on and off
Yeah.
inside of the
Oh, yeah.
cab?
And some of the nice ones have got GPS inside, too, like helicopters, they can see, you know, a computer on board, if they miss a spot, it'll show them a color, different color, and go back and spray where
That's
it is.
neat.
Wow.
How much can a helicopter, or how many acres can a helicopter do? Before
Pretty
they
down fast, probably that.
Or but before they have to refill it?
15, but it depends on the volume per acre.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're doing a release at 15, you can do a lot of spraying, but you're throwing out 30 gallons an acre on site prep. That's slow, but man, I love being able to see that shower. I'm never getting on that shit.
Cost of the application, on the label it said the cost of the application usually runs around $20 to $40 per acre depending on certain variables. And examples of those would be like where the track's located, how easy it can be accessed by, you know, the equipment, helicopters, skidders, wherever. The total acres that's gonna be treated, how much water is needed for the treatment, and a 2.5 gallon jug chopper on forestry suppliers is $239. Surveys have been done to show that applications using chopper are only 60% of the cost it would take to do intensive mechanical methods of getting rid of the hardwood species. The droplet size, volume, use high flow rate nozzles to apply the maximum rate of volume needed. Pressure nozzles do not exceed the nozzle's manufacturer's recommended pressures. Use the minimum number of nozzles to provide a uniform coverage over the area. And the nozzle type, it says you use the nozzle type that is designed for that specific application. Site preparation. Chopper will kill grasses that sprout almost immediately after the harvest. It creates good walking conditions for planting crews so they don't have to step over a bunch of trash and debris on the ground. It causes a brownout, which makes for a better, more effective site prep burn after application. Site prep is usually done in the spring after the leaves have fully expanded, and 5 to 20 gallons of water for aerial applications is needed, and 5 to 40 gallons of water for ground application is needed. How much chopper is used depends on the denseness and how layered the canopies are, and when spraying with a helicopter it is important to minimize spray drift. Use a controlled droplet boom and nozzle configuration. Application should not be done on windy or gusty days, and it said to use 32 to 64 fluid ounces per acre sometime before the end of August. Foliar conifer release, used for killing of unwanted hardwood trees that are competing with crop trees, may be sprayed using water or some other type of emulsion carrier. Curtail the maximum label rate are not exceeded. I don't know, well, I guess that was supposed to be a different word, I don't know what that is. Avoid direct spraying of your crop trees, and the best results if 2/3 of the tree's crown is covered. Most release treatments are done in the late growing season when the buds of the crop trees are beginning to harden off. If done before, it may cause a problem to the growth of trees, and do not spray trees that are stressed with drought, disease, or any type of vigor reducing stress. The word for this herbicide is caution. And if you're using chopper, it's important to wash your hands before eating, drinking, using tobacco, or using the restroom. If swallowed, it's said to call poison control for their advice. Have the person sip on a glass of water. Do not induce vomiting unless told to do so by poison control. If unconscious, call 911 for emergency help. If chopper gets in your eyes, it's said to hold your eye open and rinse gently for 15 to 20 minutes. After you've done that, remove contact lenses if the person has them in, and then continue rinsing and contact poison control or a doctor. If it comes into contact with your skin or your clothing, it's said to remove the clothing, wash the skin thoroughly for 15 or 20 minutes, and contact the poison control. If chopper is inhaled, get the person into fresh air so they can breathe and try to, dilute some of the inhalation. If the person is not breathing, call 911 for emergency help and proceed with mouth-to-mouth if possible. Some of the PPEs that are needed to spray chopper, it said long sleeve shirts, long pants, obviously shoes and socks, and chemical resistant gloves made of any waterproof material. Physical and chemical hazards. Chopper must be stored in, mixed, or applied only in stainless steel, fiberglass, plastic, and plastic-lined steel containers. Do not store, mix, or apply in unlined steel containers or spray tanks. Environmental hazards. Chopper should not be directly applied to areas where surface water is present unless specified on the label. It should not be applied below the high water mark. Do not contaminate water when disposing of wash waters or rinsates. And do not plant desirable hardwood trees on a tract that has been treated until the following January after the application rate. So I guess if for some reason you treated a tract to plant pines on, and then you for some odd reason decided you wanted to plant hardwood trees, you needed to wait till the following January after you applied it, or it killed the hardwood trees. Storage and disposal. Do not store near or around food, like feeds for your animals or anything like that, or water. It said not to store it below 10 degrees Fahrenheit. And waste resulting from the use of this product may be disposed of on-site or at an approved waste disposal facility. Container disposal. It said to triple rinse or pressure rinse containers promptly after emptying, then offer for recycling if available, or reconditioning if appropriate, or puncture and dispose of in a sanitary landfill, or by incineration, or by the procedures approved by the state and local authorities. It said to do not reuse these containers for anything other than that. Restrictions. All I could find on the restrictions was it said to keep away from fertilizers, other insecticides, or fungicides to avoid unwanted exposure to desirable vegetation. And thoroughly clean equipment after use. Flush the tank, pump, hoses, or boom with several changes of water after removing the nozzles and springs. A personal contact, a guy I met about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 years ago. He's retired from the Forest Service now. He lives up my way towards Lexington off number 8. His name's Scott Cook. He worked for the North Carolina Forest Service doing all kinds of stuff, and I asked him if he had ever sprayed it, and he told me that they sprayed it using helicopters, and he'd been part of the ground applications and everything. He just told me all about the stuff that he used to do with that. That's it. Anybody have any questions about it? I hope I can answer them.
You said to stay away from water with this.
Yeah.
Do you know how far away you should stay, or?
I
It
just
said the low water
the
mark.
high water mark.
High
yeah.
water
How far?
I don't know about like your SMZs or anything like that. I don't know. I didn't see anything, or can't recall anything what it said about it.
Did you hear anything about leaching?
I didn't see anything about it.
Nothing about it?
I'm sure there's something about it, but I didn't see anything about it. Didn't write anything down.
Was there a certain time you could spray, like I know you mentioned it's for release also?
Search time.
Is this a certain time you can spray it, or?
The only thing that I found on it was when it said after the buds have hardened off to make sure you don't damage your crop trees. So I guess that would be what Russell like.
After July 31st.
Damn, don't take it.
All right.
So it's foliar, basil bark, was it basil bark and cut surface? Or was it-
Right there, they are aerial spraying using a helicopter, mechanical applications, tractor skidder, backpack sprayers, injection,
Okay.
cut stumps, basil and stem applications, and low volume basil bark treatments.
All right, in the words of Steve, takeaways. I think I'm gonna start using that now, Steve. So that's what I need to know. Takeaways, that's good, I like that. Remember, the chopper's the same thing as Arsenal, but it has oils in it, and all type of oils in it, because they're in there to, one, speed up the death of the plants for site preparation burning. And you can wait as late and get funding for FDP cost sharing if it ever comes around again, if there's any more there. You can spray as late as August, end of August, and still have time to do a burn even September. You can burn after 34 days. 34 days you can burn and still have your manufacturer's guarantee on the chemical. With Arsenal, you're never gonna get that. You got to put something in there with it, so why would you put something there with it when you can buy something that's ready to go? Plus, when you have grasses, it's a chopper that those oils and all that help brown up, they also are killing grasses as well, which is very important to kill grasses. Not only does that add fuel to the fire, but it kills the grasses, which are a competition problem for your pines and access to the ground for the tree planters. So the sooner you kill them, whether you burn them or not, you're helping control vegetation. So all this extra stuff that's in chopper is to help brown up everything, and chopper will kill most grasses, most broadleaf weeds, and most hard to control hardwood species. So it's really the premier site prep herbicide out there today. Okay? Now y'all were bringing up the questions about release. Remember, it is that you do have to wait, but now when you're using chopper, there is no over the top with chopper, and there's no going down through there and spraying it with a skidder. It's got to all be directed. So this, if you're using chopper for release, it's going to be done with a backpack sprayer. You understand? You cannot spray this oily emulsifier. I'm just going to call it oily emulsifier over the top and around. Just you can't broadcast spray it, y'all. It's got to be directed on the vegetation. So if you're broadcast spraying, even with a four-wheeler, you set up your four-wheeler and you're rolling through there, and you happen to have low stuff on the ground, you still can't do it because that's not directed. That's broadcast. Okay, if you want to go over the top, you want to broadcast, then you need to use Arsenal. That is the only thing that's selective. All this other stuff that says you can release, Garland, all bit of them have to be direct. There's no broadcast application. I like chopper also because he mentioned it or y'all brought it up or something like that. You can use it for all application methods. So you buy a jug of it and you don't need but 65% of it. Well, you can use it like y'all did, like Steve filled up a jug this morning. You can spray a stump. You can spray a basal bark. Okay? So, I like it because it can be used for everything. And it'll just about kill everything. Okay, quick run out basal foliar, cut stone. Unlike Arsenal, if you were just asking this, I think Alistair or Josh won. Unlike Arsenal, you cannot put this in these tidal areas that are dry or these areas that are in a dry state. Arsenal you can, because Arsenal is water-based.
You're wet state.
These wet areas you can't put them in. Yeah, wet area you can put
Oh,
certain chemicals in wet areas when they're in a dry state.
this one you
You
can't.
cannot. He had that in his presentation. Okay? Now, as far as y'all asking about SMZs, that's the same. An SMZ is an SMZ, y'all. If an SMZ is there to protect, then you don't spray it. You understand?
So you're saying that it will kill pine
Oh, yeah.
if you use it the wrong way?
Even when they're hardening off in the fall, you
Do
can't
Do
broadcast.
you use it for release or?
Use Arsenal. 10 ounces of Arsenal. Always does the trick for me in Montgomery County and Richmond County and Stanley County and Anson. The East counties around here, 10 ounces of Arsenal with a helicopter over top.
Yeah,
Knocks out all but 10% of the basal area.
low risk,
Yeah, and that's what you want to do, what you want to do in your place.
yeah.
Okay? And remember about the soil activity. So long he talked about hardwoods, not only is it gonna be enough and it'll probably kill your hardwoods when you plant them, but it's gonna kill big, gigantic oak trees in people's yards. So when you site prep and somebody's cut their timber right to their backyard and they got a big oak tree that Uncle Henry sat in back in 1862, you know, you might all let them know there's a chance that it'll run over there and catch them roots. and
So it's
kill
very
them.
active in the soil.
Oh, yeah. Which is good for you and for us in forestry. You just wanna be careful. Lime trees, It'll kill your lime trees. If you let your lime trees there, you'll be getting you some damn rebar and putting it out there and walk your line. Your lime trees are gonna die. Okay? Alright, that's all I got on chopping. What we got next?